Welcome, everybody. I'm Lindley, and tonight we are going to take a trip through the application called Discord. And this is being recorded, so this will be shared with everyone who signed up. It'll also be available on YouTube sometime later on. And I'm calling this a workshop instead of a webinar or a lecture because this is going to be interactive. I've set up a test server for us, and you will have a chance to make an account and log in a really low pressure environment. So this where you're going to be joining is entirely just a test playground. So it will be interactive, and you'll have a chance to do that later on. But first, I'm going to share my screen. I don't do this very often, so you'll have to give me a moment. All right, so you should be, if you're attending, let me know if you're seeing the presentation. You should be a blue screen that says how to use Discord and create your own server. Somebody give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Awesome. All right. So Discord, getting ahead of myself. This is what we're going to be covering tonight. What is Discord? If you are, particularly if you're looking to move off of Facebook, or if you've been invited to a group, it's a pretty new application. I think it's been around for 5 or 6 years. So it's a name you may have been hearing, but not actually knowing what it is. So we're just going to go through what it is, how it works, how to log in, how to join a server. I think once we start talking about words like servers and channels, it feels really intimidating. It's actually really simple once you know what it looks like. So we're going to go through that. And then we're going to go through the basics of how do you navigate this? How do you make friends? How do you join channels? How do you block somebody who's annoying you? How do you put spoilers in? We're going to look at free versus paid accounts, what server boosting means, and finally, how to create your own server, which takes like 30 seconds. It's super simple, but it sounds very impressive. And you're going to get a chance to try all of this out. And then finally, we're going to cover my own Discord server, the Body Liberation Blanket Fort, and a really cool tool that I made for people who are creating their own servers. So that's what we're going to look at tonight. You're going to have a chance to ask questions throughout. I'm going to give you a chance to unmute yourself and ask questions here in a little bit. So if you don't mind, do that instead of raising your hand, because I may not see you if you do the hand raise in Zoom. So you will get a chance to ask questions here in a little bit. So what is Discord? So if you've ever used Slack, a lot of people have used the application Slack for work. It is exactly the same thing. It's just a different program. But if you've used Slack, this will all seem very familiar. If you have not, if you're an old school nerd like me and you used IRC, it is also very similar. If you haven't used either, it's totally fine. It's just a different sort of framework, a different kind of concept. So Facebook, a program like Facebook, is what I call an asynchronous chat application. And by asynchronous, I mean that it works a little bit more like a forum. So you have somebody post a topic, and then there are replies. And you can go back and you can search for the older topics, but generally after it's been a few days, like that becomes a concrete chunk of discussion that sort of flows by eventually. Synchronous chat applications like Discord are very different because they are more like, if I invite you to a party at my house, that's what Discord is like. So when you come in the front door, you might stop in the living room and say hi to whoever's there and join the conversation while you're sitting there. But if you leave the room, the conversation keeps going and you can pop in and out whenever you want. If you go over to the kitchen, there might be people having a different conversation in there, or one of the bedrooms or whatever. And so there are all these different conversations going on at once in one stream. And you're going to see how that works here in a minute. But just like any other modern chat application, it's available on many platforms. You can use it on your computer, your iPad, your mobile device, probably your smart TV for all I know. I have no idea. But these are, you know, you can use it on whatever platform or device you prefer. And again, these conversations are happening in real time, 24/7. So you are interacting with whoever's in the room at the moment. You can scroll back up and see old conversations, you can search, but inherently you're walking into the living room and talking to whoever's there. So the way this is divided out is that each server, a server is like, it's like a Facebook group in that it's a set of like-minded people who have all gotten together to discuss something that they have in common. So the Body Liberation Blanket Fort, which I'll show you later, is my Discord. And we might talk about plants or cats or whatever, but it's all people who are interested in body liberation. And so that is our central thing that we have in common. I am also in, you're gonna see my Discord here in a little bit. And I'm also in Discord servers for the video game that I play, for D&D groups that I'm associated with. There's one that's a progressive religious server that I hang out in. All these different servers. So those are like Facebook groups. And then you have channels. Each server has its own set of channels. And this is where it gets different from Facebook, because I'm going to show you that in a second, because each server has its channels, and the channels are like a river. So I'll show you how that works in a second. But these channels can be either text channels that you're typing into or a voice channel. And again, you're going to see how this works in a little bit, but Discord also includes voice chat. So you can sit there and hang out in voice with people too. So anybody can create a server. It's free to create a server. Anyone can invite people. So anybody can start one of these. And the last thing, I'm not going to cover this tonight because it's a little more advanced, but the other thing that Discord offers is live video streaming. And this is usually used by video gamers who are sharing whatever game they're playing. So how servers work. You can see here that I have 3 fictional servers here with cute little logos that I made. So we have Mountain Magic, Chonky Cats, and Rockhounds. And I wish all these existed. Maybe they do somewhere. But each one of these, if you look, the server itself has these little rivers coming out of it. Those are your channels. So each of these columns is completely separate. I can be in Mountain Magic and have no idea that the other 2 exist, or I might be in all 3. But the channels remain within their server. And so generally, most of these Discord servers will have a number of channels, and you'll see that here in a minute when I go into my actual Discord, that are topic-based. So generally, there's a living room or like a lobby that's the general channel. And then you can see under Mountain Magic, we have one dedicated to mountains, one dedicated to rivers, and one dedicated to trees. And again, these are fictional, but now I kind of want them to exist. Okay, so before we go into joining servers, I'm actually going to flip over. Can I just drag this over? I'm always talking about vulnerability in business, and I'll tell you that it's been a while since I tried to do this. Okay, so are you still seeing the presentation, or are you actually seeing my Discord now that I've dragged it over? Give me a thumbs up if you're seeing a gray screen, and a thumbs down if you're seeing a blue screen. Cool, thank you. So this is what Discord looks like in action. And we're going to go through what all the parts of this are, because again, this can be a little bit intimidating if you've never seen it. But this is, I want to show you right quick what the channels and the server look like. So if you see, remember in the presentation how we had that Chonky Cats server, that little cat logo? That's right here. Hopefully you can see my cursor, but if not, it's at the top of the left-hand bar. So I made this little test server. Again, they take 30 seconds. They're really easy to make. You can make your own. I'll show you how later. But I made this little test server that you're going to get a chance to go in and play with here in a minute. so that you can see how it works. So in the Chunky Cat server, you have these channels. And you'll see in some of the other servers that I'm going to show you that many of these are much more developed. This is a very simple server because I just made it and there's nobody in it yet except me. But you can see that there are 4 channels that are text channels and then 1 that is voice. General, in text and voice, those come with each channel. You don't have to set those up, but I added cat chat, Chunky, and flea help because it seemed appropriate. So these are the channels within each server. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over to another server and I'm going to show you how a more developed server might look. So some of these are have vulnerable folks in them who I'm not going to just randomly put their stuff on the internet. The body liberation blanket fort is this with the one with the little tent here, and I'm not actually going to show it to you live. You'll see some screenshots of it that have personal information blanked out. I'm not going to show it to you live because these are people in my living room talking and they deserve to have privacy. But I will show you. Let's go down to Pomomo. So all of these icons are servers that I am in. I'm in a whole bunch for various reasons. You do not have to be, just one is plenty. But these are some that I'm in. You can also see there's this folder down here, this blue icon with the little 11. The 11 is your notifications from those servers. You can choose to get notifications or you can mute them. We'll look at that later. But I have a whole bunch more in here, more servers that I don't really use. So I just drag them where I wouldn't have to look at them. And again, we'll be covering this in more detail here in a second, but I just want you to see, this is a bot that you can get for your Discord. And I was experimenting with it the other day. It's for a specific purpose. And you can see that in this more developed Discord, they have more channels. So there's a create a ticket if you need support, suggestions, there's a giveaway area, a welcome. So you can see that each of these Discord servers have a different number of channels. And if I am in this Pomomo server and I'm not in Chunky Cats, I can't see the Chunky Cats. You have to be in the server to see what's underneath it, if that makes sense. So let's flip back to the presentation. And this is your first chance to start digging in and actually use this. I'm going to give you some time to do it. But this is how you're actually going to make an account and log in. And if you're attending live or if you're listening to the recorded version, I'd love for you to try this. Like I said, I'm going to give you time. And the least intimidating way to do this is to do it when you can ask questions. So you're going to go to discord.com on whatever device. You can flip over or do it on your phone if you're watching on a computer. Do it whatever way is easiest for you. Once you have an account, you can use it anywhere. So if you sign up on your phone, you can then use it on your computer or vice versa. So I want you to head over to discord.com and go to join a server. And you can see on the presentation, you can see the directions for doing this. I've circled in red where you are going to go and click. And I want you to enter the code that's on the screen. That will get you into Chunky Cats, which is the test server. That's your sandbox to play around on. And I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that. I'm going to check. I see some chat. Yes, I will pop the code into the chat so you can copy and paste it. That's a good idea. Let me pop out of presentation mode so I can copy and paste it myself. And let me get back to the chat. All right. Yeah, the code that is on the presentation is now also in the Zoom chat. And I'll put it in the description for the recording of this later so you can copy and paste it from there. But feel free to go ahead and copy and paste that so you don't have to type in all those random letters. But I'm going to give you 3 minutes to go do that. And in the meantime, feel free to unmute yourself and ask any questions that you have at this point or type them in the chat.
Hey, Lindley, this is Catherine, and can you hear me okay?
I can.
Perfect. Hopefully my dogs won't chime in. I have a general question. One of my with Discord is that a lot of like GIFs, tomato, whatever, and just like rapidly moving things,
Mhm,
it's an access issue for me with some cognitive challenges I have.
mhm.
Do you know of any way where I can like turn off all of the moving bits, or
I don't, but actually I have the same question. That's a great question.
I mean,
Um,
even just looking at chonky cats, it's already just like stressing me out with all of the
uh-huh.
the waving and um
Oh yeah, the welcome channel. Yeah, that's a pretty new addition with the automated little welcome things. The first thing that I would advise is to turn off notifications on that channel, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But that way you don't have to go into that channel once you're in the server, and you don't have to see all the blinky wavy stuff.
mhm. Okay.
I just realized I don't think anybody can see me, but I'm like waving my hands around. Um,
No, I can see you in the gallery view, but
okay.
yeah, and I just like, when I'm in other channels as well, and when I've been in the blanket fort, I know other people often like gifts shifts. I can never
Right.
remember which it is. So to some extent, I just, will just try to avert my gaze, but I wasn't sure if there was any customizability on that front. I'd be surprised if there is, but didn't hurt to ask.
Yeah, I'm looking. Uh, yeah, I'm Googling right now, like how to make it not play GIFs, because I think that would help. Uh,
Yeah, I can poke around on the Googles later
yeah, I know that
also.
there's a way to do it. I just don't know how offhand.
Okay. Well, just knowing that there's a way to do it is helpful.
Yeah.
I'll follow up on that. Thank you.
Somebody in the Discord support forum says something about unchecking the play images and play animations and web pages option in Internet Explorer. So it's possible that Discord is based on Internet Explorer, and that would do it somehow. I'm gonna put that link in the Zoom chat, but I have not tested it.
Okay, I'll check that out. Yeah, I'm on a Mac, so I don't even have Internet Explorer on this machine, but
Yeah,
I'll check that out.
I don't know why changing something in Internet Explorer would affect Discord, but here we are.
Okay, well, I've also got a very techie husband, so maybe he can help me sort this out if I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah,
Thanks for taking a look.
yeah, that's a great question, because yeah, I had been meaning to do that myself. But yeah, I would definitely recommend when you join a new server, muting notifications on the welcome channel if all the blinky flashy stuff is overwhelming, because that is the where you're most likely to get a lot of it at once.
Okay, will do. Thanks again.
Sure. All right. Excuse me. All right, anybody got any questions before we move along? All right. So I'm going to assume that you are now in the Chonky Cats channel, which we will flip back to here in a minute. But first, let's look at the anatomy of a Discord window. When you go into a server, here are all the things that are available to you. I know this looks very overwhelming, and this is part of why I set up the test server, the Chonky Cat server, because when I am looking at my own Discord, this is what I'm looking at. It's a lot, but I'm used to this. I've been using this type of program for 20 or 25 years. So this is sort of my home territory. This would be very overwhelming for me if I started here. So when you're looking at the Chonky Cat server, you're not going to see all this, but I deliberately picked a window that had a ton of stuff in it so that you could see the areas and not just see a lot of blank gray space. So a lot of this is self-explanatory. All your servers that you're in are listed in the left. If you have just signed up for a Discord account and you've just come into Chonky Cats, you're only going to have the one blue one. But like I showed you live a minute ago, these are all the ones that I'm in. all the channels in the server that you are currently have selected. Oh, Catherine, I see that you posted a screenshot and I can't see what it is yet, but I'll check it in a minute. Once you have picked a server on the left-hand side, once you have clicked on that icon, all the channels in that server will appear where it says active server name and then all channels in the server. That left-hand bar with all the hashtags, those are your channels. Now, this is the one view that you're going to get of the actual body liberation blanket fort. These are the channels in there. And you'll see that the only messages you can see there are from me. You can see Lindley, she, her. Those are my postings. And then on the right, where all the channel members are, I have blocked out everyone who's not me or a robot. Because again, you know, you deserve privacy when you're in the blanket fort. So I have blocked out everybody's personal information except my own. So that is what you're looking at. So basically from left to right, you have your server list, the channels for your active server, and then the conversation in the middle. And then over in the right, you have everybody who is in that channel and whether they're active or not. So if you look over in that right-hand bar, you can see it says online 4 in the middle of that bar where it's not blocked out by cats. You can see something that says recording, something that says Pomomo, and something that says study lion. Those are all bots that I brought into the channel to do specific things. So they're not real people. And then you have Lindley, which is me. And I'm currently using a picture of a cat about to attack a red dot. So that's what you're looking at when you were looking at a Discord window. It's very different from Facebook. It can be overwhelming to start with, but the goal is really just to pick what you want to focus on and just really look at the middle. So when you get into a new server, one of the first things that you may want to do is to change your profile, like when you get a Discord account. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And it's super simple. Let me go back right quick. I did not mark it here, but down in the very bottom left, there, well, the slide numbers are coming up, but right here, you can see my little icon and you can see my little icon. It's got a little cat there and a little moon that shows that I'm away when I took that screenshot. This is not live. And then there's a little microphone and headset and gear. That is your central profile location. If you need to do anything with your profile, you're going to go there. It'll be up all the time. You'll always be able to see it. And you can see that mine says Persephone, and then it has some numbers after it. That nickname and those numbers combine to make my profile name. And so if you want to give yourself a cute little icon, like my little cat, and you want to change anything about your profile, you're going to go down to that bottom left corner and you are going to click the gear next to your name and your whether you have an icon. You can also set your status there, like whether you're there or away, by clicking on your icon itself, like you can see in this second little in the second cloud there. Honestly, I never do this, ever. If somebody wants to message me, they'll message me whether I'm away or not. So honestly, I have never once done it. But if you want to set whether you're away or not, that's how you do it. So once you go into the customize, I will show you this live. Let's say that I want to customize my profile. I have clicked on that little gear, and this is what comes up. So you can see here that there's a bigger picture of my little cat avatar, my username, my email. This is where you change your password if you need to change your password, et cetera, et cetera. And all your settings are here as well for your entire account. You can explore those on your own. There's a lot of different things that you can customize. There may also be, let's look at the image, the moving image thing while we're here.
Yeah, Lily, this is Catherine. I actually found it under the accessibility settings.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So,
yeah, and yeah, that you can ignore the screen grab because I was just showing that, but
Oh,
changing the automatically play and play animated, that alone didn't fix it. But when I turned on enable reduced motion, and then that
right here.
box below, I changed it to like never animate those stickers, and they're just stickers now. It's great.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so for anybody who, I'm gonna switch it back on mine right now so I don't forget that I did it. But I may turn this off myself because for anybody who doesn't like a lot of motion, if you have any vertigo issues or you have any, you just get overwhelmed from a sensory standpoint, this is a great thing to do. And I'm going to turn it off now, but that is how you turn off animated GIFs or animated emoji and so on in Discord. Is to come over here into accessibility and click enable reduce motion and then click never animate. Awesome. Yeah, so then if you go back to my account and then you go to edit user profile, here are your standard, if you've ever made a Twitter account, when you made a Facebook account, every social media platform allows you to change your user picture and to change your, to change your name and things. This is where you're going to do that. That's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm not going to go into it, but that's how you get that. You're also going to start seeing some things like unlock with Nitro. Nitro is Discord's paid accounts, and I'll come back to that later and show you the advantages of having that. For the record, I do not have a Nitro account, but I might someday. So let me get back to this. All right, so this is another area where people can find it intimidating, is how do I interact with individual people? Oh, and Mark just said in the Zoom chat that you can change the profile from dark to light, or change your Discord from dark to light. Light makes it look a little bit more like Facebook or a web page. Some people find the dark easier to read. Some people find the light easier to read. Mine has been on dark, but you can go into your settings and you can change it to light and see which one you like better. But when you are interacting with individuals, you've seen how to type into a server, into a channel, into a group chat. But you can also, sort of have relationships with individual people through Discord. You can, just like Facebook, you can friend people, you can block people, you can send people messages individually. And I did not screenshot how to see your friends list. So I'm just going to show you right quick. However, I'm not actually going to click over into my own friends list because that's more personal information that I, do not have permission to share. So I'm just going to show you where to do it. When you want to look at your individual friends list, as opposed to the servers that you're in, you're going to come back to this left-hand bar and you're going to click on home. Home is where your individual friends list will be. And again, I'm not going to actually click on it because those names will not be blurred out. But that is where you get to it. And you can click these strangers in this public Discord. I'm not actually going to try to friend them, but let's look at 1,000 miles away. And the reason that I'm willing to show this example server that I have up right now is that it is a public server. Anyone can find and join this server. That is not true of ones like the Blanket Fort. So I'm going to show you the difference in a minute, but that is why I'm not as worried about the privacy of these folks in this random server. So let's look at 1,000 miles away here. You can see that when I right click, I have a number of options with this individual. I'm not going to add them as a friend because I have no idea who this is. But let's say that we were in the same server and they were being obnoxious. I could mute them. I could block them. And we'll look at the difference in a minute. Say I thought they were really great. I could also add them as a friend. I could invite them to my own server. These are all the ones that I could theoretically invite them to. I could, if I'm in voice chat with them, and they're really faint, I can turn their individual volume up so I can hear them. Or if they're really loud, I could turn it down. There are a ton of things you can do with other individual users. You can see their profile, you can send them a message, you can call them, you can add a private note about them. You can go in and see all of these things. When you get into the test server, feel free to send me a friend request. Feel free to do this on my profile. Look at my profile, message me. Don't call me, that's weird. But you know, or block me or mute me, because that is a test account of mine in that server. You can do whatever you want. Nothing is permanent. Everything is experimental. So feel free to play with that. So let's come back over. So if you mute somebody, they can still send you messages in text. You just can't hear them if you are in a voice channel together. If you block them though, you can't see their posts. They can't send you private messages. So blocking is like the nuclear option. Muting is just for audio, for voice chat. And the last thing I want to point out here is that if you go back into your user settings, it will show you your full profile name, your user ID, and you can copy that and send it to friends. Say you have a friend who wants to invite you to their server. You can send them, or to friend you, you can send them your user ID, copy and paste it so that they can invite you to something. Oh, and here's the test friends list. Okay, so when you, this is what happens when I forget my own slides. So that thing that I wasn't going to show you for the friends list, I did make a sample version of that with my test account so that you could see it. So if you go up to that top left-hand corner and you say, I want to see my friend list, you click on that top home button. This is what it will show you. And you can see that I'm just friends with my main account here. So Lindley is friends with Lindley, and that's it. So that you would have a test version to see. But you can see that it works more or less like the main channel list. I have messaged Persephone, which is myself, and I have said, hi, Lindley, how are you? And so it looks just like a channel, but you're chatting with an individual. One more thing about chatting in channels. You've probably heard of spoilers, like spoiling a TV show, like Dumbledore dies. That's a spoiler. It's a really out of date spoiler, but it's a spoiler. And so you can use spoilers in Discord. And this is super handy because it's really great for both preventing actual spoilers, like if you're talking about a TV show in Discord. But it's also a great way to add a content warning or a trigger warning on something you're about to say, and to hide it so that people can choose to see it. And to do that, all you have to do is type /spoiler in front of whatever you want to hide. And then anybody who wants to see that just can click on it to see it. So what that will do, you can see in this screenshot that I have typed something with /spoiler in front of it. And what that has done is it's blacked it out. And so if this were real text, I could click on it and it would show me what it says. Okay, so before we talk about free and paid accounts, I'm getting all sorts of notifications. So I think lots of people are coming into Chunky Cats, which is great. Look at all these people. Awesome. Please feel free to post pictures of your pets, cats, or otherwise. You know, I don't know if that's an upset peach. I guess so. But yeah, feel free to type things in here, friend each other, block each other, whatever. I will eventually wipe all of this so that you know, so that nothing is in here that you wouldn't want on the internet forever. So again, total playground, do whatever you want. You know, no death threats, please. But other than that, you know, behave, but do what you want. So before we talk about free and paid accounts, I'm going to take a drink of water and give you a second to think of any questions you might have at this point. Also, if you are having trouble getting into the test server, this is a good time to let me know and we'll look at that. All right, so my goal is to keep this in an hour, so I'm going to run through the rest of this really pretty quickly so that we have time for Q&A at the end. But let's look at free and paid accounts. Basic Discord accounts are always free. I mean, that might change in the future, but right now they're free. And honestly, basic Discord accounts are pretty great. I have never had a paid account. If you wanted some of the extra perks of a paid account, paid accounts are called Nitro. Excuse me. And they give you more like custom emojis and like a custom profile. So you could add text along with your avatar with your profile picture. Gives you the ability to upload bigger files, and gives you what they call boosts, a certain number of boosts per month. I think the boosting capability is actually an additional charge and it's not part of the Nitro account, come to think of it. So that's what the Nitro account does. It's basically extra perks. It's a great way to support Discord if you use it a lot. I really should get a paid account given how much I'm on it. So I think maybe that'll be my Christmas gift to myself, is a paid account. But that is what a Nitro account is. Anywhere you see unlock with Nitro or this is a Nitro ability, that's what they mean. It's a paid account. So boosting is kind of confusing even to me, but it's an additional paid ability that allows you to reward servers that you like. So it's like giving them like a Mario 1-up mushroom or giving them a gold star. So if you really liked the Body Liberation blanket fort, you could boost it. And so boosts are another subscription that you can get, and it will give you so many boosts per month. And so you could boost, if you had say 5 boosts per month, you could boost one server 5 times, or you could boost 5 different servers. It's like I said, it's kind of like a sheet of gold star stickers that you can, give different servers that you like. And it's a way to reward the people who run servers that you like. And it gives you servers that get boosted, if they get boosted enough, get extra abilities. However, it takes a lot of boost for that to happen. So I don't know that I've ever seen a server that I'm in get boosted enough to actually get extra capabilities, but that is technically how that works. And some of these Discord servers, like most of the ones I'm in, aren't very big, but there are public servers with hundreds of thousands of members. And so for those servers that are really popular, I'm sure that they get enough boost to get to unlock these extra capabilities. And so this is a good time to talk about public servers, actually. Some servers are public, and you can go into Discord and you can search for them somewhere. Oh, nope, not there. Ah, here it is. So you can find public servers through this Explore button. And that lets you find servers that have been marked as public. And so I'm just going to put in reading and see what comes up. Okay, so there's a manga reading server, there's a Roblox, there's one called the Reading Room, there's a philosophy. So you can explore all of these public servers too. A private server like the Blanket Fort, you need to have an invite to. But that is how public servers work. So that's free and paid accounts. So this is the last thing we're going to cover that's in our main agenda here, is creating your own server. You can see that there's not a whole lot of text on this slide. It's because it's really simple. So I'm going to, you saw that way back we had Chunky Cats, we had Rock Hounds, and we had Mountain Magic as our pretend servers. So I'm going to take the second one of those in addition to Chunky Cats, and I'm going to create a server in 10 seconds. So I have just clicked this plus button in the server list to add a server. They have some templates. I've never used them. I've always just created my own. So I'm going to click create my own. It'll ask you to choose whether it's for me and my friends or for a club and community, or you can skip this question. I'm just going to pick for me and my friends. And now it's going to give me a chance to upload a server picture. So I'm going to go to upload, and I'm going to pick this mountain magic picture that I had, and I'm going to give it a name, mountain magic, and I'm going to create it. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, done. That's how easy creating your own server is. And so then I can use the plus buttons here. I can add channels. You can get as complex as you want it to get, because you can assign roles, you can assign permissions for each of these channels to say who can do what, where, and that's a little bit out of scope here. I recommend hitting YouTube for that, because I'm sure there are tons of great tutorials. But that's how creating a server works. It's really that easy. And you can see that Mountain Magic has appeared in my list over here.
Lindley, this is Catherine. Quick question. If I'm not sure how many people might be joining my server, would you recommend starting with the for me and my friends option, or the for a clever community option? I'm not sure how that affects the way they're setting it up for me.
I have no idea. Let's see what happens when we create clever community. I don't think it matters.
Okay. I mean, my inclination is to do the for me and my friends, just so it's as pared down as possible, but I don't know what the differences are.
I don't know what the difference is. Oh, I clicked out of it by accident. I don't know if the interface looks different. So we're gonna create Mountain Magic 2. And we're gonna see if it looks different. No? Yeah, I don't know. That is another area where I'm betting that Google would be able to tell you better than I can. Because it looks like it's not any different. So I'm not sure what that option is pretty new.
Okay. Thanks for checking.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can see too that I've been using this for a long time, and even I don't know all the ins and outs, because you kind of just learn things as you go. In fact, Discord just created a brand new ability that is to create an event. And I have not even used it yet, so I have no idea. Stay tuned. But yeah, it looks like you can create an event in your channel, and it'll probably send you reminders. So another thing that I don't actually know how to do off the top of my head is how to delete a server. It's probably here under Edit Server Profile. Oh, nope. There's a setting somewhere that'll let you delete it. Oh, there we go. So this is Mountain Magic 2 that I just created. And to delete it, I went into, let me show you again. I clicked the drop down beside in Magic 2, and I'm going to server settings, and I'm just going to delete the server. So I need to type the name of my server, and then I can hit delete, and it's gone. Oh, and I could give them feedback if I want. I'm going to say I didn't mean to make a server, because I only had it for 5 seconds. So back to Chonky Cats. So that's how to use Discord. It's pretty simple once you get past that initial intimidating learning curve. So I want to cover a couple more things. Actually, we'll cover a couple more things here in a minute. So I have a couple more things I want to cover right at the end, a couple of things I want to show you. But first, I'm going to give you, let's take 5 minutes and just play around. I'm not going to show it on the screen share. I'm just going to leave this up. So whatever you type in Chonky Cats, is not going to be on the air. So try it out, give it a few minutes, poke around, try creating your own server if you want. Try making some friends. Send me a friend request, mute me, block me. Join the server if you haven't already. Try typing, try making some spoiler text. And let me know what questions you have. And here's a little bit about me that you can read in the meantime for folks who aren't already familiar with me and my work. So I'm just going to hush for a couple minutes and let you go at it, and just let me know what your questions are.
Lindley, I do have one question for you. What are your biggest pain points with Discord?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, the first one that comes to mind for me is actually pretty obscure, and I don't think anybody else is going to run into it. But I have a program that I run on my desktop computer, and I'm not using it right now, but it's kind of a shell program that contains Discord and some other chat programs that I use. And it just puts them all in one place. And I can't use voice on it because it's buggy. Like I said, I think I'm the only one who's going to run into that. I do find that it can be really intense. Sometimes it is very overwhelming, and I have to, there are whole servers that I have muted notifications for because I just can't keep up with them. And they're not going anywhere. I can go and look at them later. But it can get very overwhelming when you have a ton of notifications coming at you at once. So I've learned to take advantage of the muting on a channel for sure. And if you want to mute notifications for a channel, there's a little bell at the top of that channel, and you can click it and it'll get a red line through it, and it will not send you notifications that there is new chat in that channel. And it's a really great way to narrow it down to just what you want to focus on and just what you want to hear.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have that turned off pretty globally. Were you ever able to figure out how to use the Pomomo bot? How do I add that? Do I need to have that as a separate, is it a separate server? I didn't see it in a public server search.
Yeah, where did I find the server? Okay, so let's talk about bots real quick. Bots are little programs that they're little add-ons that you can add into Discord for specific purposes. There are bots that play music. There are bots that automatically greet people when they join servers. There are bots that create events. There are bots that apparently there are bots that will automatically like images that are posted. There are bots for everything under the sun. Pomomo is a bot that is supposed to run Pomodoro timers, like study timers or productivity timers. And I found it by just Googling for productivity timer, and it came up. And so the Pomomo website had that server link. And so I joined it through their website. And I need to get into the server and actually look and ask for help, because I have not had any luck with getting that sucker to run properly. Honestly, I don't know whether I'm doing it wrong or whether it's a problem with the bot. So that has been a process of experimentation that I have not finished. There is another server that I'm in that I can't show you for privacy reasons, but they have a custom coded bot that does these productivity sprints where I can tell it, just run for 30 minutes. And then it gives me some incentive to go work for 30 minutes. And then I come back and tell it what I did. It just gives me a little bit of accountability. And I was trying to recreate that for the blanket fort, and I have just not managed to get it to work yet.
What was the name of that bot? That sounds great.
It's called Pomomo.
No, the second one.
Oh, it's a custom coded one that only works in that server, unfortunately.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'm still trying to find one that just works, where I can just say, count me down 30 minutes and then give me an alarm. So the thing with bots is that all the ones that I've seen are free. I don't know if they're all free, but they are hand coded by people who use Discord, and some of them are easier to use than others. That study lion that you may have seen in the channel earlier. Let me go back to it. You can see, if you're looking at the presentation, you can see that there's one called Study Lion as well. That's another bot that I was experimenting with for the same purpose. And that one wasn't working exactly the way I wanted it to either. And then the one that says recording is one that's called Craig that records the voice channel. And I've been using that in my office hours in the blanket fort to show or to record. Can't scroll and talk at the same time apparently. To record questions that get asked during office hours. So it's like our own little private podcast in the blanket fort. All right, any more questions before or comments before we move on to our last little thing? All right, so as you have seen on the presentation, I'm Lindley. I live outside Seattle, Washington, and I'm a body liberation activist and photographer. I do a whole bunch of different things, and that include I do client boudoir and portrait photography sessions, small business branding sessions. I sell body liberation stock photos, fine art prints. I run a web shop called the Body Love Shop. And I do health at every size consulting. Like I said, a ton of different things. They're all great. And you can learn about that on my website at bodyliberationphotos.com. And as you have seen me mention a number of times during this workshop, I do run a Discord server that is called the Body Liberation Blanket Fort. And this was a response to there's such a need for body safe online spaces, and they're so rare because diet culture is pervasive. Diet culture affects us all every day in many, many, many ways. And it's really hard to create spaces that just reject that entirely. Even fat, if you're watching the recording of this, by the way, and you're not familiar with me, I'm using the word fat as a neutral descriptor, not as an insult. But even fat-centric spaces, people often bring their internalized weight stigma and weight bias in with them. And to hold a space, to have a community space where people, especially marginalized people like fat people, aren't constantly being attacked by diet culture, it requires a lot of close supervision, to be honest. It requires pretty constant moderation and management. And I used to have a Facebook group that was like that, and it was free. And I found that as one individual who also works a lot, I was not able to maintain that space with the kind of close attention that I wanted, and do it for free, to be honest, because it was a ton of emotional labor. And I shut down that group years ago, but the need has continued. The need is still there. And I wanted to bring it back, but I had to figure out how I could do it in a way that was sustainable, both for the people in the group and for me. And Discord was the way to do it. So I created the Blanket Fort as something that's open to people of all sizes, but it is, however, a fat-centric space. Fat people are centered in the space in a way that is very rare for us. But that doesn't mean that people in smaller bodies are unwelcome by any means. But it is a bit of a different feel than you might be used to. It is body positive and fat positive. It's also the best way these days to hang out with me if you want to do that. I'm in there all the time. I'm just hanging out, ready to chat. And for the people who support my work, that direct access is one of the rewards. And when I say support my work, I mean, this is for my Patreon subscribers. You do need to be a member of my Patreon and be supporting to access this. And this is the way that I make this sustainable for me, is you don't have to be contributing a certain amount of money to get access, but you do need to be contributing at least $1 per month. And so I'm really happy with this because it's financially accessible. If a US dollar per month is just not doable for you, you can message me directly, get in touch with me, and I will get you in for free. But in general, I do ask that people contribute at least $1 a month, because it helps compensate me for all the emotional labor of running this kind of space. So again, opened up, people in all sizes, everyone is welcome. But there are private channels for fat folks and super fat folks, so that those people have a closed space where they can talk about things without feeling like they're on stage. We have weekly journaling activities. We have my weekly office hour, which is a Q&A. It's like our own little podcast. You can ask questions in advance, or you can hang out and chat with me, and it's recorded and only shared within the channel. So this is totally private. And to get in, it's at patreon.com/bodyliberation. Once you have signed up for the Patreon and supported at $1 or more per month, you are automatically given access. So you can hook your Discord account that you just made to your Patreon, and it will put you right in the blanket fort. So please come join us. We would love to have you, especially now that you have the basics of how Discord works. And finally, if you are someone who wants to create a group, if you are someone who heard that we're going to learn how to create servers and went, yes, this is me. This is how you do it in a way that is safe. Oh, thank you, Mark. Mark says, I can attest to the blanket fort being a really rad space. But when you are designing a group, and if you are creating groups without designing them, you're probably doing it in a way that is not body safe, that is not safe for your marginalized members, your future members. You have to design body awareness and safety into your group from the start. And so I created a whole workbook not long ago on how to do that. What does it mean to have, what does it look like to have a group that is body positive or fat positive or social justice aware, or that centers marginalized people or fat people? What does that look like? How do you get there? So the Creating More Equitable Groups workbook is exactly how you do that. And whether you have a group that you are getting ready to start, like a Discord server, or if you've got a group and you're unhappy with it and there's a lot of drama and you can't figure out why, this is how you figure it out and put a stop to it. If that drama is around people being crappy to marginalized people, to plain and simple. So this is both a troubleshooting guide and a guide for getting started. And you can find that workbook at bit.ly/equitable-groups. So thank you all so much for joining me. I appreciate you so much. I'm so happy to share my nerd pursuits with you. As people move off Facebook and join us nerds in Discord, it's really exciting to have you all come over and join us. Does anybody have any questions about anything before we break?
What's your Venmo handle?
I think it's Lindley-Ashline, I think. Oh, that's right. I have a screen that is not being shared, so I can really look it up. Super prepared for that question. It's a question I love to get. I just don't. Yes,
well, I might also maybe I'll just buy that work group, because I do want to start a space, not specifically for like HAES, but for disabled and chronically ill folks. So I'm sure that there will be some overlap there.
Yeah, it's you know, most of my work is fat centric, but it is absolutely applicable across marginalized groups, because it really forces you to sit down and go, okay, when there's conflict, how am I going to deal with that? What does it look like to center a specific population as opposed to a privileged population? The Venmo is Lindley-Ashline. That's LINDLEY-ASHLINE. And I believe that the workbook is $5.99, and you can find it at that link. All right. Again, thank you all so much. Oh, Catherine has all the initiative tonight. Catherine has put both my PayPal and my Venmo from the notification email in the Zoom chat, and I will put those in the information when I send out the video as well. But thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, night, depending on where you're calling in from. And I will be sending out the recording of this so you can watch it again. Thanks, everybody.